The New York Guardians beat the LA Wildcats 17-14. I was at the game. I was at MetLife Stadium. I was on the sideline. I was on the press box. First of all, thank you to the XFL for that opportunity. Thank you to the New York Guardians. They were great hosts. They were very kind. And number one, going to the game, ton of fun. I love it. I like the people of New York. I really have a fondness for the attitude and the gruffness I met a lot of fans too. Like a guy named Taylor was there. A couple people took pictures with me. I got to meet a lot of people who listen to the show at the Guardians game. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. Now, number two, wow, did New York drastically improve from week 3 to week 4. I could not believe it. Week 3, they got destroyed and embarrassed. They lost 29-9. And I called them a mess of a football team. Well, then week 4, they made a change at quarterback. And wow, it made a huge difference. Matt McGloin, the former quarterback, was hurt. And if I were him, I would remain, quote unquote, hurt the rest of the year. Matt McGloin was not on the sideline. They took him off the sideline. They put him in the press box. He looked pretty angry when they showed a picture of him. And I think it was really good for the Guardians to remove Matt McGloin from their sidelines. I hate saying that, but it's true. The demeanor of New York, I was on the sideline. They were a different football team. They were calm, they were composed, and they were led by their quarterback, Luis Perez. I love Luis Perez. I watched him when he played for the Birmingham Iron in the AAF. I loved that. I've been a fan of him since he was on the Rams because the stories that came out of the Rams, I have some friends who play for the Rams, and they talked about how Luis Perez literally would beat Sean McVay, the head coach, in the facility every morning. Luis Perez was so driven and so motivated and so hungry to succeed. He didn't even make the roster, but they loved his work ethic. Now, Luis Perez was calm. He was composed. He was great as a leader, and really the leader that New York needed last week against LA. I mentioned Luis Perez during my season preview. I said that if he got any kind of opportunity this year, he would take advantage of it. He's that kind of guy. He's prepared. He works incredibly hard. Like, preparation is the name of his game. And that's exactly what Luis Perez did. He took advantage of the opportunity. He won New York the game. He played great. He played efficient. It was so cool. And the story of Luis Perez, you got to hear this. It's so, so cool. Luis Perez was an elite bowler who never played high school quarterback. He walked on to a community college, went from 8th string to becoming the starter. Then he went from the community college to play D2 football at Texas A&M Commerce. I believe they won the national championship. He was the Division II, I do know this for a fact, he was the Division II National Player of the Year. He basically won the Division II Heisman Trophy. Then he went to the Rams. Now he's on the XFL New York Guardians. And watching the progression of Luis Perez's career is so cool because this is a guy, again, who did not play quarterback in high school, taught himself how to play the position, walked onto a football team in college, made the team, won Player of the Year. I love that story so much. And what Luis Perez provided in New York, it was stability at the quarterback position. They didn't lean on Luis Perez. The Guardians ran the ball really heavily. They had over 100 rushing yards on 29 carries. Luis Perez was 18 for 26 passing at 150 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But what he did was play good, clean, efficient football. He made great decisions. He put the ball in the right spot. And he threw some really good passes. New York has the right quarterback in Luis Perez. Luis Perez is the right quarterback for New York. He should be their starting quarterback for the rest of the season. He should be their permanent starter. This week, New York plays Dallas. That's a game they're very capable of winning. Dallas has a backup quarterback that could win that game. And the lesson here is that week 4, New York was a very different football team. Week 3, they were yelling at each other. They were angry. The last couple weeks, Matt McGloin, I think, became a problem. I liked Matt McGloin in college. I thought the way he handled the entire mess at Penn State. I really would have thought Matt McGloin would be better in crisis. He was not. When things went wrong, Matt McGloin lost it. He just flew off the handle. And he was yelling at people and calling guys out and calling coaches out. And that's not a good environment. I just don't think it worked. And Luis Perez was coachable. He was willing to do he just trusted his coaching, brought stability, wasn't yelling. He's a good leader and was exactly what New York needed. Week 4, they were a disciplined, well-organized team. And the truth is that people don't realize how new these teams are. Like, these are teams that have been playing together for like 6 weeks. So maybe just New York needed time to grow together and come together as a team. But what we saw week 4 from the New York Guardians was a very, vastly different football team than what we saw week 3. And I'm excited to watch them progress. And I'm really excited to watch their starting quarterback, Luis Perez. I love him. He's great. And he's so much fun to watch.